We're about halfway through the final week of training camp practices for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I'm going to ask you, are you concerned? Are you concerned about the mounting injuries that are piling up to our backups and some of our starters throughout training camp? Will it equate to a slow start to the season? Not a bad season, a slow start to the season. Phillies win last night again against the Mariners. Christopher Sanchez, awesome. Jhoan, Duran, phenomenal. Kyle Schwarber, legendary. We're going to talk some Phillies, too. Trending in the AM, talking all things Phillies, Eagles. Starting quarterbacks across the NFL. We're live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live, YouTube and Twitter. You know the drill wherever you're watching. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. And, of course, please subscribe to the STT Sports Network YouTube page. Sitting at 594 to start today. We grow these numbers by you hitting those buttons. And, of course, voting on our YouTube poll question of the day, will the Eagles get off to a slow start this season because of the nagging training camp injuries, and they are starting to mount. Not a concern, big picture. None of them are life, career-threatening, season-threatening injuries. But we're going to talk about that today. Plus, we're going to talk about, obviously, the big Phillies game last night, the big win for the Phillies last night. Taking these two games against the Mariners has been excellent, we'll just say. Very, very good team, very big win. So we've got lots to talk about. But it starts with you hitting that like, share, and subscribe button. Good morning to you, Adam. Hope you are well this fine Wednesday morning. The ending of the game last night, Steven said, was awesome. Duran versus Raleigh, speed versus power, felt like October. Yeah, I mean, anytime that Jhoan Duran comes in Philadelphia, it feels like it. I'm just going to say it again for the 900th time. The one sure thing we've got for next season is Jhoan Duran will still be here. That dude is a special young player, and I'm so glad we get to watch him on a daily basis. Content check, what's up? Super Keyboard, new name, Super Keyboard Tough Guy. Gotcha. Good morning, Duck. How you doing? That Phillies game last night, it was a classic pitch hitter battle from my youth that you seldom see anymore. It was power versus power. Yes, and you love to see it. And you love to see the Phillies come out on top in that power versus power situation. Who be hurt on the Eagles? Well, Tanner McKee, the backup quarterback, is now hurt. A.J. Brown still has not practiced, although Kevin Patullo has said they expect him back next week. Johnny Wilson got hurt yesterday. Andrew Mukuba got hurt yesterday. Jordan Mailata has a concussion now. They're starting to pile up a little bit. And it happens in training camp. And some of them are probably not as serious. But there is something that happens in training camp. You work on building chemistry with your team. There's been a lot of guys that haven't practiced a lot. We haven't seen Jalen, AJ, and Smitty together but a handful of times. We haven't seen all five offensive linemen on the field together too many times. Are you concerned at all that it might take a few weeks, just like last year's slow start, to build up some of that chemistry? And honestly, if that's the case, I'm okay with that. Good morning, Rick, from the beautiful Jersey Shore. Yeah. Way to rub it in and make us all jealous right from the get-go. I appreciate that. I hope you're having a fantastic – I hope the jet skis yesterday were as enjoyable as you thought they were going to be. Every team in the NFL gets nicked up in training camp. That's what training camp is for, to get sharp. No, it's to get sharp. Getting nicked up and getting sharp. You can't get sharp and cohesive as a unit if everyone's banged up. Now, every team gets banged up. Some of them here happening later in camp. I mean, Tanner McKee might miss a couple weeks. Are we really going to go into week one with Kyle McCord as our backup quarterback? Are we concerned at all that Jordan Mailata's got a concussion 14 days before the season starts? I don't know. Andrew Mukuba, I just said yesterday I declared him the winner of the safety battle. He might have a hamstring injury. We see how long A.J. Brown's been out. Johnny Wilson carted off, got his leg rolled up. Good thing we just signed or traded for John McKee. Sanchez was lights out per usual. His first pitch strike rate was lights out. Look, Christopher Sanchez with the Zack Wheeler situation is going to get a whole bunch of Cy Young votes now. Well, if Zack Wheeler isn't ready for the first round of the playoffs or at all, he's your game one starter. I've said it before, Rick. I'll say it again. Not counting players on rookie contracts. Christopher Sanchez is the best pound-for-pound contract, dollar-for-dollar contract in Philadelphia sports period right now. All the sports teams. He's on a 4-year, $22 million deal, and he's literally a contender for Cy Young. For all the bashing I do of Dave Dombrowski, bringing in, I don't know if he brought him in or if he came in just before Dombrowski got here, but for all the complaining I do, Dombrowski locking him up long-term so cheaply, so early in his career. Chef's kiss. Great work. McKee, AJ, Mukuba, Wilson, Dickerson, Mailata, they are starting to pile up. Nothing substantial. I think the Andrew Mukuba injury could definitely be substantial to the extent that he might miss some time. And he was already on the fringe of missing at being the starter or not. I think Johnny Wilson, we'll have to see more. And Tanner McKee, they're not saying it's surgical, but his hand's hurt. He might not be ready to go week one, which would be a concern at the backup quarterback position week one. But most of them are not long-term season ending. Actually, on the edge of Hurricane Erin here at the shore, I'm just a beach junkie. I love it. I love it. I've skirted through some of those things in the Outer Banks before. I know the Outer Banks is in evac mode right now. Kirkland came in and ruined Sanchez's win. Yeah, I didn't watch every second of the game straight through. I'm not sure if Kirkland I thought I turned it on and Kirkland was getting squeezed. Wasn't he? I think I was texting with Adam. That exact thing last night, that he was getting squeezed. Mailata concussion 2 weeks before the opener is the best case scenario for a concussion situation. Yeah, I get that. Absolutely understand that. Still don't want to say it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Adam. Muchas gracias. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. When did he get it? How did he get it? How severe it is? Yeah. But again, now you're going to go another week without having your offensive line working together. And I know most 4/5 of them are returning starters and stuff like that, but there is still kinks that need to be worked out. There is still a need to work on rebuilding, regaining chemistry. It is. And Landon Dickerson has obviously missed a lot of time and is going to miss straight up to the start of the season. Lane Johnson's bounced in and out for rest, maintenance, whatever, because of his age. Now Mailata. And the problem with that all is, the concern with all the offensive line issues is that the depth is not very good. Matt Pryor got destroyed from all reports yesterday in practice. He was taking the left tackle side for Mailata, giving up pressures. He was getting just dominated by Alex Hunt and Nolan Smith. Brett Toth hasn't been great. Kendall Lamb hasn't been great. Drew Kendall. None of these. Darian Kennard. Nobody was great in filling in yet in training camp on the offensive line. And that is definitely something that concerns me in the regular season. Now, if just one guy's out, you still got 4/5 of a great offensive line. But it's ugly there. He got squeezed, but he also couldn't pitch strikes. Gotcha. Dallas Goedert. I don't know if Dallas Goedert really has a groin injury or a serious one, because he has been limited occasionally with a groin, but he's also practiced through it. And same thing with Smitty. I think both their injuries were something that happened early on, but they just used that as an excuse instead of putting the word rest on there. I think Smitty and Dallas Goedert are the two that I'm least worried about at this point. Good morning, Mr. Peanut. Pixelated History YouTube channel. The amount of injuries should really worry us fans. Some of these injuries aren't serious, but can become nagging season-filled issues with the schedule we have. Yeah, I think that's a great point. The schedule is not easy. Just the games in general, how they're structured, not easy. We don't have back-to-back home games. Remember last year, we had the early bye, and then late in the season, I think we only flew once in like the last 7 weeks of the season. Makes it very easy to maintain injuries, to fix these big football players when they don't have to put their bodies on a plane. The season is going to be tough. It's going to be filled with lots of highs, lots of lows. And the start of the season, the first 5 weeks, are extremely difficult. And if you got guys banged up or missing games early, I'm asking this nagging injury question. I'm asking this slow start question more so as a precursor to prep you, to prep people not to overreact if the Eagles get off to a 2-3 start, a 1-2 start. No overreaction, no fire this guy, no cut this guy. Jalen Hurts sucks. This team is going to have some hiccups. And I've been saying it since day one, especially on defense, for many of reasons. So this topic of will the Eagles get off to a slow start? Are there too many nagging injuries, starting to pile up? It's to prepare people for this ain't going to be no 15-2 campaign. I still think they can win the Super Bowl, barring any devastating injuries, not nagging ones. But let's be honest. When the Eagles finish 11-6 and get into the playoffs, that's all that matters. As long as they're healthy. I don't see Mukuba on any of the published, or he got hurt during practice yesterday. He grabbed his hamstring during some drills. He tried to play through it. Then he went off the field, couldn't, kept grabbing the back of his leg like a hamstring. And then they took him from the injury tent all the way to the locker room or to the back, and he never came back out. He didn't even come back out and watch the end of practice. So we'll know more about it today, maybe. I don't know who speaks to the media today. I think Nick Sirianni does. Today is the last official training camp practice. We'll learn something about it today. My guess is he doesn't practice today. And the thing with Andrew Mukuba is he was already kind of a step behind because he missed early practices in training camp. He was slowly earning that starting safety job from Sidney Brown. If he misses 2 to 3 weeks and isn't ready till week 2, week 3, health-wise, I'm just saying, we might have to go with Sidney Brown, the starting safety at this point. It's not like Tristan McCullum has had a crazy awesome camp that he's going to steal snaps. We might be back to the Sidney Brown experiment. We might be back to the Justin Simmons conversation if Andrew Mukuba is going to miss 2, 3, 4 weeks of practice, which means then he might not play till week 2 or 3. Good morning, Little G. How you doing? Hope you are good. I almost don't care about the first 6 games. Yeah, I mean, I care enough. I don't want him to go 1-5 in the first 6 games, News. That would be not caring at all. But I understand that a slow start is possible. I understand a slow start is okay. I also understand the middle of the schedule is a little easier to maneuver. We are the hunted. The hunters can hunt. The hunted can hunt too. But we're the hunted. And we've got games against Dallas, the Chiefs. We've got the Rams early in the season. The Bucs, who always give us problems. The Broncos, who are an ascending team. I think there are 5 games, first 5 games actually. It concerns me that the fans will overreact because of a slow start, which everything on paper tells us that it should be okay. What's up, Bruce? Good morning to you. Hope you are well today. Great Phillies win last night. Yas, what's up, my man? How you doing? Sidney Brown has looked better and more consistent than he has in previous years. Not great, but should be serviceable. My concern, Yas, isn't that Sidney Brown is serviceable or not or whatnot. It's that he can't fend off Drew Mukuba, who's a rookie, Drew Mukuba, who's missed time, and Drew Mukuba is still pushing him for that spot. Sidney Brown's been here, this will be his third year. Sidney Brown should have been able to push Drew Mukuba to the side. Yo, this is my job. It's similar, not as bad, but similar to the cornerback battle. Kelee Ringo should have been like, yo, this is my job. I ain't letting anybody take this from me. And he's not. And the same thing's happening with Sidney Brown. Now, Sidney Brown's doing a better job of barely holding on to it, unlike Kelee Ringo, who I don't know what to make of Kelee Ringo. Kelee Ringo, now that he's played multiple practices in a row, only with the third-string cornerbacks, it's kind of crazy. That's just what bothers me. He's looked okay, Sidney Brown. But I wanted Sidney Brown to be like, yo, my job. You didn't need to draft a safety in the second round. If Sidney Brown doesn't start, does that label him a bust, a limited player who has faded into history? I don't think he's a bust, so to speak. What was he, a third, fourth-round pick, Sidney Brown? I mean, he's a nice player. He could be a good special teams player. Heck, he might even be a solid safety on an average team. But in his situation, on this Eagles team trying to win a Super Bowl again, he needs to be better than an okay player. I feel we will make all the hunters very sad as we will do good, I feel. Well, absolutely feel that. My concern is how cohesive will they look? How connected will they look with the fact that so few practices have happened with everybody on deck? It's going to take a little time. I feel JT is still a star, even if JT has had JT Realmuto has rebounded this season massively well. Since about late May, early June, he's back to being the BCIB, best catcher in baseball. Still great defensive catcher. Back to hitting the ball effectively, driving the ball. So, yeah, JT's having a phenomenal season. They got him in the cleanup spot now. And you know what? Rightfully so at this point. Great turnaround to the season for pending free agent. Kyle Schwarber's getting paid because of the season he's having. But JT's going to have to get paid too because of the season he's having. Brown is a third-round pick, so I don't know. I guess he could be considered a bust. Maybe. Couldn't remember if he was third or fourth. What do you have to do to what's the level? Which round compared to success do you have to meet to not be considered a bust? Phil, I feel you're right. Many Phillies fans say he isn't good anymore. I mean, he struggled to start the year. There ain't no doubting that he had some rough patches early in the season. That ump had to be set incorrectly last night. He was so off last night. I'm not a Kirk fan, but he was getting screwed. Yeah, I mean, I was chatting with Adam in Messenger about it. Like, dude, it just feels like the ump was squeezing him the whole game. That's never good. JT has been one of the best hitters since June. Yeah, I knew it was late May, early June. Absolutely. Has had a phenomenal. What's up, Anthony? Yeah, Cal Riley is by far the best guy. I know. Little bit of red-colored glasses, a little red-biased Phillies pinstripe glasses on me. I mean, JT's what, 33, 34 years old now? He's still I don't even know if he's still a great catcher. Let's just say he's still having a great season, and he's rebounding very, very well. I mean, I guess I could pull this up really quick. I just want to see something now on him. I want to go to his month-by-month splits. Game logs. There's August. So going into June 1st, his average was 222. His OPS was 654. After May, he hit 205 in the whole entire month of May with a 636 on base. In the month of June, he hit 293 with a 690. And this month, July, 354 with an 881 OPS. And right now he's hitting 333 this month with a 908 OPS. So, yes, JT Realmuto is having a phenomenal second half of the season, for sure. JT is still fast for a catcher, too. Yeah, I mean, he's still fast. I don't really worry about speed in a catcher. It doesn't it doesn't do anything for me. I want to know that they can catch the ball, throw runners out, and I want my catcher to hit 260. And that's about it. Remember, I'm old school. We're all old school here. Well, not all of us. Catchers weren't supposed to be vital parts of your offense back in the day. JT giving us anything is great. Casty going to get red hot. He's starting to find his swing again. I've seen some little glimmers of hope there. Yes, Rick. He's got to have a turnaround just like JT is. Brandon Marsh has since his injury return as well. There's a lot of players on the Phillies. They struggled early. Then they had a little injury or something happened, and they turned their season around. We were still waiting on Cassie. Even Bryson Stott, Rick, is finally finding his swing. I want to say Bryson Stott over the last month. I'm going to pull up his month-by-month thing here in a second. 2 or 3 more clicks here to get this right. Bryson Stott in the 9 holes got his average up to 243. Bryson Stott in the month of August is hitting 326 with a 947 OPS. I mean, after that 194 July and 202 May or June, he's doing well. I mean, literally a whole bunch of the Phillies are turning their seasons around. We just need Nick Castellanos to join the camp now. William Contreras from the Brewers is also having an insane season. Lots of good catch. It's crazy, Anthony, right? Because you're an older gentleman like me, like Rick, like a lot of the listeners. I mean, Darren Daulton, we considered a great catcher. But he was you put Darren Daulton in today, he'd be a mid-catcher, right? Actually, Darren Daulton probably would figure out a way because he was so great. But catchers were the 8-hole hitters on a team. Now catchers do so much more. And it's crazy. JT autographed a ball and bat for my brother last season, so we feel he is. That's always nice. Love to hear stories like that. Stott's not going to start to heat up. He is heating up. Like I just said, 354 through 19 days this month. Bryson Stott's completely 180 his season. Stott stopped skipping leg and core day. Is that what it is? I don't know. And I don't know if it's sustainable. I don't know which Philly that's turned their season around. Stott, JT, Brandon Marsh. Which one is most likely to maintain it? What turnaround is most sustainable for them? And guys, you're watching Training. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, subscribe, and share. Vote on our poll question. Will the Eagles get off to a slow start this season because of the nagging training camp injuries? Phil, you are right. If you could call a good game and block pitches, you could be exactly. You can hit 200 and be a major league catcher if you were a good defensive player. If you could call a good game, that's all that you needed to do. Manage a pitching staff. Phil, I feel our main weakness is our outfield, as it is very streaky. It is right now. Honestly, I mean, Bader hasn't transitioned well into Philly. Marsh is playing better baseball than people realize. And Casty is yet to get out of his funk, which has been like a 3 or 4 month funk. JT is one of the best catchers defensively and conducting pitchers. Look at pitcher stats with and without him. Yes, I've done that. It is crazy. Him hitting better and an on-base pass, it's making him look youthful. Yes. He's looking for that money, Big Al. He wants to get all this talk about how much JT or Kyle Schwarber's going to get paid. He wants to know how much he's getting paid. Daulton was completely hampered by injuries from day one, and then Lenny got it. That car crash. I remember that. Didn't he miss he missed the 6-7 months of baseball, the second half of the season when that happened, and the start of the next season, right? I remember delivering newspapers, and my dad had side jobs delivering inquiries to bulk inquiries to food stores and stuff. And I remember helping him when I was a kid. What was that, 91, 92 that happened? I remember helping him deliver that newspaper and seeing that on the front cover, Lenny Dykstra, Darren Daulton in an accident. It wasn't like we had the internet back then. It wasn't like it was social media blowing it up. I still remember finding out about that and being like, holy shit, my favorite player's hurt. Is my favorite player going to live? I remember that. 91. See, I knew it was 90 to 92. I know it was before the 93 World Series run. Dude, I still remember being so 91 season, that would have been about 10, 11 years old, being so scared as a young boy. Injuries will happen in practice unless you are doing that stupid non-practice practice everyone was doing a few seasons ago. They realize that the contact is necessary to get players ready. Yeah. Contact is necessary to get the scar tissue off, right? To break that up a little bit. Get you that feel. I would say out of all the injuries, I am not concerned about A.J. Brown's injury. I think he will be ready next week to practice, and he'll be ready for week 1. I don't really worry about Johnny Wilson's injury because he's your 4th, 5th, 6th wide receiver. I'm a little concerned with the Andrew Mukuba injury. Okay, a little bit. I am actually, out of all the injuries, the one that concerns me the most is Tanner McKee. Because they're being very vague. They're just calling it a non-surgically needed hand injury. That doesn't tell us much. And if Tanner McKee can't go week 1, if he's got a little fracture in his hand or something wrong with his wrist, and he can't play week 1, you better pray to God that Jalen Hurts doesn't get hurt. Now, I know Kyle McCord looked good in practice yesterday, by all reports. And he took all second-team reps yesterday. But I would be shitting in my pants. Get y'all shitting pants on. Who said that? Negan. If Kyle McCord had to play any snaps week 1 or 2 or whatever. By the way, DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, not getting the second-team reps yesterday, you might as well just cut the guy and go find another quarterback. Cass batting .255 with 6 hits, a home run over the past week. Phillies have won 4 out of 6 of those games. He's finding his swing. I'm saying he's finding it. He hasn't had that complete turnaround or big spark turnaround that someone like JT, Bryson, or Marsh has had this year, turning things around. Also stopped wagging his bat so much. As a player, like I wasn't a good hitter, but the bat wag, it just bothers me. Like it makes me, like, to them it probably helps them calm their minds. But to me, it strikes me as a distraction, right? Yeah, Tanner McKee equals next star quarterback. I know what you think. But wouldn't you be concerned if he can't dress week 1? You're the one that keeps saying that Jalen Hurts is going to get hurt and Tanner McKee is going to be the stud. Jalen Hurts gets hurt and Tanner McKee can't go. We're done. We have to hope Casty doesn't get streaky too early and get cold. That's true. You don't want him blowing his load too soon, right? The more you worry about player injuries, the more they'll happen. Fear not. I know, just put the power of positivity out there, and everything will just be fine. Well, eventually it's not going to be fine. Eventually, if you have 1 or 2 injuries, yeah, you can be positive. When you got 5, 6, 7 guys starting to line up, 1 or 2 of those guys are going to miss time. They're not just all going to magically be fine. Let's just also put this out there. If you believe in positivity and negativity, you also believe in karma and the cycle of it all. We've been really lucky last year with injuries. Really lucky. We haven't had a really bad injury season since, I guess, 2020. Was that the year we had 75 different starting offensive linemen? Carson Wentz obviously got benched that year. It's something that concerns me. The law of averages. Too many good things have happened in Philly. So we're due for something bad to happen in Philly. Now, despite all this, Rick, despite my concerns, despite my worries, I still haven't wavered that I still think the Eagles will win the NFC East and the Eagles will still get back to the Super Bowl. Will they win it or not? We'll have to wait and see. But I also prefer the injuries to happen now, earlier in the season, than late in the season. Injuries aren't something you can control. Literally, you can't control any of it. We have seen season-ending injuries just by running a route with zero contact. Exactly. Now, there are much more worse injuries across the league happening. Teams are losing players all over. And the Eagles are staying healthy in a sense where none of these injuries have been considered season-ending or long-term injuries. We're getting lucky in that sense. I just think, well, I'm just trying to prepare, and Rick might have missed this in the cold open. I'm just trying to prepare people that these nagging injuries aren't going to, at this point, stop the ultimate goal from happening, winning the Super Bowl. But it may get us off to a rocky start because of the lack of cohesion, the lack of practice, the lack of building of chemistry. I mean, Jalen Hurts yesterday was throwing to John Mechie, Johnny Wilson, and Anaya Smith before Anaya Smith got hurt, and a little bit of Darius Cooper. That's who he was throwing to yesterday. Casty still looks lost. He hit the 190-mile-an-hour ball down the middle, had a couple of jam base hits, but he still has that look on his face. He may still be a few weeks away. He got to the top of the arc, and now it's curving. All right, he got to the bottom. He's going back up. He's not at the top of the peak yet, but he's starting to climb the hill. Nick Castellanos, and that's good. It's better than nothing. Let's let him take 3 more weeks in the 7-hole, figuring it out. 7 or 8-hole, whatever they want to put him at. I'm fine with that. I actually think Nick Castellanos, if he can break out of his funk, a bottom of the lineup of Nick Castellanos, Harrison Bader, and Bryson Stott in your 7, 8, 9-hole, if they're all clicking at least solidly, that might be one of the best 7, 8, 9 holes in the playoffs if they're playing at their top form. Now, what's the problem with Harrison Bader? Why isn't he not? Is he just having trouble adjusting to Philly? Is the platoon affecting him? I mean, he's not really platooning too much more. He's playing a little bit more regularly now. Harrison Bader hasn't been great. Or was he just another Austin Hayes, Whit Merrifield, Max Kepler that we got overhyped for? But I'm glad Topper stopped pandering to Casty's whips. At least he's giving him a benching him here and there. At least he's playing it right, finally. I will say I did criticize Topper heavily yesterday, obviously, because he was asked about Jordan Romano, why he keeps getting opportunities. And he was saying, well, he's just been unlucky. He makes good pitches, and they just get lucky with the hits, jam shots. Look at his ERA in May. He either gets a lot of outs or blows up. I don't want to hear Rob Thompson justify Jordan Romano. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Just ignore the question. Be like, well, we'll see what happens today. You don't have to give me a load of horseshit answer trying to compliment a pitcher that's just straight trash. Saw this on Wiki, so it must be true, whatever I'm about to read from Big Al. Ken McKee played in 2018 U.S. Army All-American Bowl and the 2018 Polynesian Bowl and named MVP. McKee committed to Stanford. He was adopted by the Beermans in 2023. Oh, the Beermans did adopt him? Gotcha. Gotcha. Bader needs to play regularly, like every day, to maintain his bat. And that's what I think is the problem, too. Definitely think that's the problem. Humes was so right. Topper benched that loser. Casty was the best thing. He's not benching him every day. He's benching him some days. Look, Anthony, I know what your discourse is for Nick Castellanos, but wouldn't you think that this Phillies team would be better off getting Casty back to a serviceable level, be better than not having him available in the playoffs because he's so bad? Getting Nick Castellanos back to his peak level, peak swing, would help make this Phillies offense almost unstoppable. You have a Castellanos, Bader, Stott, 7, 8, 9. They're all clicking in the playoffs. God, no outs, right? Lucky and unlucky. What the hell is that answer? You're pitching. Yeah. Like, literally, Rob Thompson's answer was basically, I'm paraphrasing the words, basically was, he's just gotten unlucky. Dude, he didn't get unlucky for a month. This isn't it. We're into the end of August here. We're 135, 140 games into the season. We don't need to talk about luck when it comes to a pitcher that's been pitching bad. And he referenced May. Well, he had a really good May. Get the out of here with that. I'd rather not have DB2 not named yet just to confuse Dallas. The more and more I think about it, Versetti, and good morning, and I love it when people chat on the Twitter chat too. I really appreciate you can't vote on the poll over there. Head on over to YouTube if you want to vote on the poll. I worry less and less about the cornerback 2 battle. It does seem to be that Adoree Jackson might be that guy. And if it's not, it's going to be Bennett or Mac McWilliams. But I don't know how you cut Ringo. But anyway, whoever it is, when they get out there, Versetti, with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper Dejean, Reed Blankenship, Zach Bond, when the whole starting group is together, the flaws, like whoever plays quarterback 2 have, can be masked, can be helped, can be figured out. When he's playing with Gabe Halls and Jacob Sykes and stuff, like, yeah, they're going to struggle. But throughout practices, you're hearing these guys make plays outside of Keely Ringo. Keely Ringo's getting beat every single day. Harrison Bader will give you more than Rojas and is having one of his better career years. He is about the OPS. Excuse me. I don't think he can ever get back to that. I just don't believe it is possible. Well, you better hope. You better hope. No, we're at 594 subscribers. I'll say this. I think there was a glitch yesterday. I never got up to 599. It said 599. Then 5 minutes after the show, it went right back down to 591. I'm not sure what the glitch was, but it was some kind of a glitch. And now I've gained 3 more subscribers last night and today. But there was definitely some kind of weird glitch in the subscriber and YouTube because the likes did it too yesterday, Nooms. Like 20 minutes in the show, we had 18 likes already. And then 30 minutes in the show, we were back down to like 12. So over Romano, we all are. I want to sprinkle that shit on my, yeah. It's not good. It's like you think you're getting Pecorino Romano and you're getting Parm cheese. Ringo is getting beat like I did as an 80s kid. Yeah? What were you beat with, Duck? My dad used to keep a box of yardsticks, like not just like 1 or 2, like a whole box of them in his work office. When he came home and I didn't hear him talking, we all knew to run and hide. He'd go to his workstation, grab a yardstick. Who was bad today? Crack that sucker right over our ass. Nothing stung more than a yardstick over the ass. That's why we were never bad kids. Wouldn't be surprised if Howie makes another trade sooner rather than later. Yeah, look, the question is for what? I think we got to see today, Rosucci, how long is Tanner McKee going to be out for? How long is Drew Mukuba and Johnny Wilson going to be out for? What's that situation? Because there are multiple angles they could bring in another cornerback. They could, in theory, need to bring in another safety. They might need to bring in a backup quarterback. I would be disappointed if they didn't look at adding another offensive lineman for depth. Matt Pryor, unfortunately, just ain't hacking it. There are multiple positions that they need backup help. Now, if everybody's healthy for all 17 games and in the playoffs, you don't need the backups. But in the real world, injuries happen. And right now, the depth at multiple positions on the Eagles, in my humble opinion, in my uneducated opinion, there's some lacking in those positions. NFL leading touchdown leader last year was Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's had a hell of a turnaround in his career, keyboard tough guy. IBC and trade of McKee rumors. Yeah, he's not getting traded this year. He may get traded after the year. But because of the lack of depth we have at the quarterback position, we value a quarterback too. And he isn't going to get traded this year. Unless someone massively overpaid. Just think about this. I've said this before about Tanner McKee, Rick's self-proclaimed GOAT of all time. Tanner McKee could start on 15-plus teams in the NFL, maybe 10, if I'm being non-sarcastic. But yet the Browns named this week Joe Flacco their starting quarterback. What's Joe Flacco? 4,700 years old? And Daniel Jones was named the Colts quarterback. Not Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson stinks. But Anthony Richardson's played 4 games in the NFL. Daniel Jones had 70, 80 opportunities to start and prove. Yet we've got Tanner McKee as our backup, while other teams are starting Daniel Jones and Joe Flacco. Some teams haven't even named their starting quarterback yet. Could you imagine? The metal end of the belt on the knuckle for me. Oh. My dad used to have a big belt buckle I used to wear too. God, that would have hurt. Jahmyr Gibbs led the NFL in touchdowns scored last year with 20. Dear Phil, any surprise cuts on the Eagles? I don't know. I don't know about other teams either. My mom switched from wooden to metal spoons because it was getting expensive. Yeah. Everything. So we had bamboo handled feather dusters, wood metal yardsticks, belts. My room once gave me, or my mom gave me a black eye because I thought she was done spanking me. Got a fly swatter in the eye. Ouch. Ouch. Trey Hendrickson doesn't have many more tackles and sacks. That won't play well with Howie. Like, I know I get on this whole Trey Hendrickson kick every so often. It's still very unlikely that the Eagles would even remotely consider trading for Trey Hendrickson when there are so many other potential trades that they would need to make or roster adjustments. But if you're going all in, which the Eagles are theoretically doing, I would do it. I would do it. If McKee really was this can't-miss starting level quarterback, why hasn't any team made Howie an offer? Well, hey, I don't think he's Tom Brady. I've never said he was Tom Brady, like Rick does. The Eagles value quarterback 2 a major amount. They know what they have in Tanner McKee. They know Jalen Hurts misses time. Tanner McKee is still on a very cheap rookie deal, Anthony. And he's still got 2 more years on this cheap rookie deal, okay? You got to take the skill set, the value of the position, his contract on a team that's got a lot of money to spend out over the next couple of years. So what would it take to trade him away? Like, I would be utterly shocked, Anthony, if not one team has ever called Howie Roseman to ask about him. And Howie's probably said, you can have him, but it's going to cost you a ton. Because we value him the player, we value him the contract, we value what his value is around the league. Now, after this season, maybe they accept the trade of whatever for him and then draft another quarterback to develop next offseason. Okay? But right now, unless a team calls it like, I'm going to offer you 2 first-round picks for Tanner McKee, which no one's going to do that. But unless something crazy like that happened, the Bengals call, we'll give you Trey Hendrickson, a first-round pick, and we'll pay $100 million of his cut. All right, then maybe you do it. But it's not happening. How's the wide receiver core? I don't know. We had John Mechie. Johnny Wilson gets hurt. Darius Cooper making the team. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith haven't practiced a lot. It's questionable. I'm very excited for Vercetti that Ojulari is rebounding. He started off very slow in training camp, very slow in off-season workouts here, but he seems to be gathering steam, gathering momentum. There was like 1 week earlier in camp. I was like, maybe he's at the back end and maybe he can lose his job. He's a roster lock at this point. Had some really good plays in the preseason game against the Browns. Coffee brewing. Speaking of coffee, let's get another sip in here. Definitely need another. Kenny Pickett might be traded at some point. The Browns call. We'll give you Kenny Pickett and a first-round pick. You give us Tanner McKee. Who says no? The Eagles do. I am sure a few teams have made offers or asked about McKee, and Howie has said no because it wasn't high enough. Yeah, it's more to it than is he a great player. If you trade Tanner McKee right now, Kyle McCord, your backup quarterback. And that's not good enough. I'm not saying Kyle McCord can't become a good backup quarterback eventually, but he ain't ready. You can put him on waivers, clear him through waivers, and get him to the practice squad. No one's taking Kyle McCord. So you can't trade Tanner McKee unless something major comes across your desk. It's crazy Baker led the league in total touchdowns, but Hurts was only 6 behind him, and that is what is with Saquon having 15 as well. Look, I'm a huge Baker Mayfield fan. I'm just going to say it, okay? Just the same reasons why I was impressed with Geno Smith in recent years. Sam Darnold last year, I feel Sam Darnold got screwed in his situation. I love rebound stories. And Baker Mayfield's a great rebound story. He is. I don't worry about many veterans early in training camp. I don't like to worry about them. My thing, again, is going towards the lack of practice, the lack of chemistry being built. Will it create a slow start, which is going to make the fans complain? Because even if they start 2-3, you will not hear me panic once on this show. Baker also played all 17 games last year, while Jalen only played 15. Yeah, I'm a huge Baker Mayfield. I love the fact that people wrote him off. He cared more about commercials and his other stuff than football. And then he buckled down and has turned his career around and is a very serviceable, very solid. I would take Baker Mayfield today over Justin Herbert. I see Mukuba having the Dejean-like rookie season from last year. Yeah, with all the injuries, he's going to have a slow start, not get used much at first. We got to see how he definitely had a hamstring injury yesterday in practice. We got to see the severity of it. Hopefully we learn something today about it, but the Eagles are pretty vague with their stuff. AJ and Smitty don't need that much practice. Wilson, Cooper, Smith, and McKee need as many reps as possible. Absolutely agree. You still want them to get some reps all together to get on the same page. Morning, Mitchie Poe. How you doing? Yes, 594 starting the day. Not too bad. Not too bad. McCord is so raw. Exactly. So you can't lose Tanner McKee to an injury or a trade because of that. DTR, and I'm guessing the other thing as McCord as well. Yeah, DTR is just garbage. Straight garbage. Kyle McCord, I mean, maybe someday he could be serviceable. Exactly. McCord's 3 years away. People are worried you can't even cut him and put him on the practice squad because someone scoop him right up. Nobody's scooping up Kyle McCord right now. And he's 3 years away, which means if Tanner McKee is actually really hurt, you're in trouble if Tanner McKee can't be the backup quarterback week one. Hopefully we learned something very positive about Tanner McKee today. DTR is a total disappointment. This is his third season. He looks worse than he did last year. Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew DTR wasn't that good to begin with. McKee, McCord, McCain, coincidence? I think not. All the mix in town. If Pickett doesn't make the Browns, you think the Saints pick him up as a vet? That's actually a fair place. I was thinking you were going to say the Eagles there. I think he does get. I think they're going to try to trade him first, and if they don't trade him, they are going to cut him. The Browns. I won't lie. If they cut him and Tanner McKee's going to miss 2 or 3 weeks with his hand injury, I'm the Eagles. I'm bringing Kenny Pickett back because he already knows the system. He always knows the team and the playbook. But I can see the Saints. The Saints still haven't named somebody. Could you imagine? I know we just said the Browns and Pickett. Could you imagine being Shane Steichen and choosing Daniel Jones to be your star? Like, you wanted to be head coach, and you got Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. Sucks to be you. At this point, we should sign Justin Simmons. Look, Justin Simmons has still not been signed. Justin Simmons, the same situation he was in last year. And still nobody wants him. Still the Eagles don't want him. I think there's more to the Justin Simmons story than meets the eye. He overvalues himself to the last second. Maybe Vic Fangio and him don't have this great relationship we think. Maybe Vic Fangio doesn't want him on his team because he sees something that he doesn't like in him. He wants to come here, but the Eagles just never seem to bring him in. So I'm kind of over the whole Justin Simmons thing, but we might need him if Drew Mukuba's hurt. DTR, Kyle Lowry. Yeah, Kyle Lowry's worse. Lowry is much worse because we know DTR ain't playing a snap for the Eagles this year. Kyle Lowry's going to start games this year for the Sixers. I am currently in St. Pete. Shout out to St. Pete crew. Awesome. Nice weather down in St. Pete, I'm sure. You assume he'll be fine. You get lucky way too often with injuries saying they'll be fine. One of these times you're going to be really wrong. McKee rested last week probably because he's earned it. Oh, he has. But McKee missed practice yesterday because on Monday's practice he took a shot to his throwing hand, and had to come out of practice, didn't return, and then didn't play yesterday. They said he has They gave a very hockey-esque report. He has a non-surgical hand injury. That's all they said. So vague. Yeah, I'd rather have I don't know about Rookie now. Rookie now suck. Shane is going to be a quality control coach with the Eagles this year. Shane Steichen's going to get fired in Indy, and then when Kevin Patullo becomes a head coach, Shane Steichen takes back over as our OC. Colts be fine with Danny Dimes. They have a much better O-line than the Giants. Recent running games, wide receivers need to be upgraded. Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. How does Daniel Jones still even get so many quarterbacks get so many opportunities that don't deserve them? I just said like 15 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, how happy I was that Baker Mayfield turned his career around. Geno Smith did the same, and so on and so on. But yet I'm so sure that Daniel Jones is not turning his career around. He's just so bad. But maybe Daniel Jones has a Baker Mayfield turnaround in his future under Shane Steichen. I think Howie says this is what I'll pay for you, Simmons. Take her to leave it, and is waiting him out. I think he did that last year as well. Tall white guy, that's why. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make it about that, but I mean, what's that dude's name that threw like 9 interceptions in a game, like a few years back? And I think he's still in the NFL somewhere. Hey, we talked about Nate Sudfeld yesterday. Nate Sudfeld got signed. I forget by who yesterday. It's crazy. It's crazy. Daniel Jones leads with his head when he runs. He isn't very smart. His football IQ is not very good, Daniel Jones. He's got athleticism. He can run. He's more mobile than we think. He's got a solid arm. He just doesn't know where to throw it. That's the problem. The Flyers' only chance to instantly change this franchise into an instant cup contenders to push all chips in. I mean, Rick, I'm just curious. What's going through that brain of yours this morning? We're neck deep in Phillies and Eagles talk, and you just randomly throw a Connor McDavid comment and the Flyers in there. Like, where did this come from? Like, what? I'm sitting there sipping my coffee, doing my wake and bake, thinking about what first beer will be today. I got to throw a Flyers comment in there. Yeah. Oh, I see the second part. McDavid to McKee. Okay, I got you. Never mind. Let me read the whole comment before I make my decision. No, Baker has always had that spark. Danny, yeah, at least Baker did. Yeah, at least Baker had some skill set to begin with. Yeah, I had to reread your comment to fully understand. I just saw the word Flyers, and I'm like, where the bleepity bleep is the Flyers coming into this conversation? There's always a coach or GM who thinks they could fix somebody, yeah. And that's why coaches and GMs lose jobs, right? Yeah, they don't have many chips to go all in. ADHD moment. No, I get it now. Yeah, Baker had the pedigree. Baker had a little success. I think Baker's downfall was more because the fame and fortune might have gotten in his way of the actual football preparation on a regular basis. I mean, he was doing more commercials than workouts, basically. Okay? That was a big part of it. Shout out to everybody on Twitter, always. We love the Twitter crew on here. Most of the comments come from YouTube, but I love a good Twitter commenter watching the show. It's always fun to see people comment on Twitter. Now, would I like you to go over to YouTube, linked on my Twitter page, and subscribe to the YouTube channel? Absolutely. Guys, you're watching Trending in the AM. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Head over to the YouTube page, subscribe, and vote on the poll question. Will the Eagles get off to a slow start this season because of the nagging training camp injuries that are piling up? Right now, we're at no 53%. Yes, 47%. Where will we get to with that? I don't know. We've got 17 likes on the video so far. Let's keep liking this video, sharing it out. Creepy duck with a real zinger on me. Yeah, I don't know if that's a zinger or not, but yeah. Baker lost focus on the football in Tampa. He's all about the football now. He pulled crap out of places only God knows, but he pulls out those wins. He you know what? He's a poor man's Jalen Hurts. He is a winner. Baker Mayfield has a knack for winning in tough moments. just like Jalen Hurts. Now, he hasn't been able to do it in the playoffs yet. But Baker Mayfield is an underappreciated quarterback in the NFL. And his turnaround is under discussed, we'll just say. If we're going to talk quarterbacks in the NFL in general, instead of just Tanner McKee or Jalen Hurts, I am really looking forward to a Sam Darnold killer season. I don't know if they've got the team to do it, but he cast off from, early in his career, bust, terrible, everything. And he goes to Minnesota last year and leads them to 14 victories. And then because J.J. McCarthy is their first-round quarterback from the year before, we're just casting him off. Well, you know what? He's in the situation with Jared Goff. I hate it when the Rams let's just get rid of Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford. Let's upgrade him. I root for Jared Goff on a regular basis when it's not against the Eagles. I am rooting, as long as it doesn't affect the Eagles, for Sam Darnold to have a hell of a season. More raffle tickets. Great segue. Great segue. Guys, don't forget, we are running a great raffle and prize and contest here on the STT Sports Network, raising money for Eagles Autism Foundation. What I'm doing, I'm selling $5 raffle tickets. What are the prizes? I've got this Cooper Dejean and Darius Slay autographed football. I got this A.J. Brown signed framed photo. I also have a Brandon Graham strip sack poster signed by Brandon Graham, all being raffled off on September 4th at 7:30 before the Eagles take on the Dallas Cowboys right here on this YouTube channel. How do you purchase those $5 raffle tickets? Really easy. You just Venmo me. There's my Venmo information right there on the screen. You can't win any of these great Eagles merchandise prizes unless you're in it. You got to be in it to win it. So make sure you purchase your raffle tickets. 100% of the money raised is going right to Eagles Autism, which is a fantastic charity, fantastic organization. The Eagles organization as a whole does so much great community work. Thought this was a great way. I got this free autograph memorabilia. I don't want it. Let's give it away. So, guys, don't forget about it. Basically, Big Al and Duck better each win one of them, which means there'll be a third prize for everybody else. Flyers will have a ton of money to use next season. They're going to make it run for McDavid. Yep. 0 assets. Baker has pulled a Tampa Bay team from the desperation of losing Brady back to playoff contention in 2 seasons. Even the WWE writers would have thought that plot was on. That's a good. I like that. McDavid going to be a free agent, not going to have to trade for him. Yeah, I don't know, but guys, yeah, make sure you think about purchasing raffle tickets. Let me check my phone. Let me see if what Big Al is saying with those raffles. Yep, there is a couple more for Big Al. I don't know. I better see Big Al and Duck, or at least one of them. When at least all the donations, it's going to a great cause. Even if you don't win, it does raise money for a fantastic cause. So, yeah, very, very much hope so. Anyway, where are we at? We're now neck and neck, 50-50 on the poll question. Will the Eagles start off slow? Is there any way to make sure we convince the basic fans that a slow start is not a bad thing for the Philadelphia Eagles? Is it okay? Exactly, Big Al. Exactly. I love it. What kind of a slow start would make you worry? Because I don't think there's anything that can happen the first couple of weeks that would make me worry. EC1, do you like John Mechie III trade? I think there's so many different levels to the John Mechie trade. EC1, EC3, EC3. So many levels to it, okay? One, if Johnny Wilson got really hurt last night or yesterday in practice, you just got really lucky having John Mechie there. Another level of it. Are we overhyping Darius Cooper? And they see that. I don't think so. Are they more concerned about the A.J. Brown injury than they're letting on? I don't think so. What I really, truly think the John Mechie trade was was that the Browns or the Texans needed a tight end. Their tight end got hurt and out for the year. We had an extra tight end. The Texans called and made us a trade offer for our tight end we were probably cutting anyway. And Howie Roseman's like, holy shit. Basically, we're flopping back the picks we already flopped. And I'm giving up a cutting tight end for a second or third year wide receiver that's got a rapport already with Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts. That's a former second-round pick that had first-round grades on him, who's battled leukemia and stuff. Like, literally, the value that they got in that trade, beautiful. Chef's kiss. Eagles started 2-2 yesterday. And last year, we were panicking at 2-2. Well, I wasn't, but most fans were panicking. I was telling everyone, come on, yeah, look. Whenever I see a comment, I always think of EC3, the wrestler. But yeah, like everybody was firing Nick Sirianni last year. Cut, trade, find a new quarterback. It wasn't working. I wasn't panicking last year because I saw the big picture with the Eagles. And I know, so before this year, this Nick Sirianni style of training camp and offseason was going to always get teams off to slow starts. But as long as you get healthy at the start of the season, it's okay. Now we're going to have that slow start plus some injuries piling up. So there's some interesting dynamics to it. You want me to post my Venmo again? Absolutely. Where is that? There is my Venmo. If you want to purchase the $5 raffle tickets, there it is. We're somewhere in like right around $550 raised so far. There's my Venmo. $5 raffle tickets. And again, there's my Venmo, Rick. There you go. I got to take the banner off. There we go. So that's that. No panic from me. Yeah, I mean, me and you disagree on the Phillies for sure at times, but we were all on the same page and not panicking last year with the Eagles. Mechie's Smith, AJ going to be your future. I think Dotson gone after this year, or maybe this year. Rumors Eagles calling for Trey Hendrickson. Look, I've suggested a Jihaad Dotson trade many of times. Now, John Mechie's on the last year, I believe, of his rookie deal as well. Unless he's got one more year left. I think he's on the last year of his deal like Dotson. Dotson, there's extreme value. If everybody was 100%, and and A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith were 100% healthy, Johnny Wilson not hurt, Darius Cooper's the real deal, you add Mechie to this group, you got Anais Smith as a sixth guy if you want, you could definitely consider trading Dotson to a wide receiver needy team. They wouldn't trade him in a Trey Hendrickson deal because they don't really need a wide receiver in Cincinnati. But there's a room for it. But now you've got injuries starting to pile up. You got nagging things. You got hammy issues. You got groin issues. We don't know what we got yet with Johnny Wilson. Good luck to you. You got to be in it to win it. Rick had that one panic day right around Christmas, but I can't remember what it was about. It was on Festivus, right? I believe Rick's one panic day was sarcasm because I think it was Festivus and he was airing his grievances. Okay? I'm going to wait till Festivus to air my grievances on Rick. I think it was a Festivus. My Festivus poll is tucked right off to the side there. We'll break it back out on December 23rd. Don't worry about it. I think that is when Rick had his one slip up, for sure. I really want to say it was Festivus. Never poses. It was all. I was almost positive your one bad day was a Festivus day, right? It had to be. I'm sitting here thinking, it's like it had to be Festivus. Never possessed. Look, anyway, whatever. Anyway, getting back to it. It wasn't all doom and gloom yesterday at Eagles training camp, by the way. All right? It wasn't. We're talking about these injuries and the slow starts, but there was still good play yesterday. There was still good success yesterday. I mean, especially on the defensive side. Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, having themselves days yesterday. Interception for Nolan Smith. Hunt, multiple sacks and even more pressures. there was good. Even Kyle McCord, as quarterback too, as much as we've said that Kyle McCord, if he has to play in week 1 because Tanner McKee can't and Jalen Hurts gets hurt, Kyle McCord had, all intents and purposes, a good practice. Adoree Jackson, Jacorian Bennett, Mac McWilliams all had good practices. So there was good to come out of yesterday's training camp practice. I want to make sure I put that out there. It's not always bad. Now, I want to ask one more question. So I'm working on my next 53-man roster prediction for later this week or next week beginning. And I got 57 names on it. Obviously, you can only have 53. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the cornerback room. And I'm trying to figure out how or when or where or what they will do with Kelee Ringo. He's the third-string cornerback with Eli Ricks. Adoree Jackson is now every day the number 1 cornerback. Okay? Bennett still needs time. Mac McWilliams still developing. You can't cut him, but you can't keep him. Like, what do you do with Kelee Ringo? Is there somewhere that you could trade Kelee Ringo for another guy that needs to change his scenery? You can't keep Ringo and Ricks. You might not be able to keep either of them on your roster. What should or could or can legitly the Eagles? Don't just say, oh, they just cut him. He sucks. Give me like an exact detail. What can they do here? I don't know of a team that's got a Kelee Ringo on their team that we can flip them for. 2 teams always like to exchange players that need change of sceneries. Guten Morgen, Herr Davy. Wo wohnst du? Wo wohnst du? No. Yes, I think it's Wo wohnst du. We are in the new era of Philadelphia sports. We're becoming the city of champions. We paid our dues. This is all beautiful. Exactly. Ringo mid as bleep. Well, he's playing that way. Drop him off in the park. I mean, Kelee Ringo does provide value on special teams. But are you really keeping Kelee Ringo just for his special team prowess? I mean, you're going to keep one, Ringo or Ricks, probably Ringo over Ricks. But really, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. I don't know what you do. Is there better value in finding a trade partner to flip a player with him for him and keeping Ricks as your last guy for special teams? Like, I kind of find the Ringo, he was there, he was learning, we're giving him time, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, it's just like his development, the little development he had, just hit a brick wall and just completely dropped off. When Adoree Jackson is knocking you back, when Jacorian Bennett in 1 week of practice is knocking you back, when Mac McWilliams, a rookie, is knocking you, not even a high drafted rookie. Was he a 4th rounder, Mac McWilliams? When these guys are knocking you back, you've been here for 2+ years now. What does that say about your future even? Everybody thinks they can develop the next quarterback. Someone might find Ringo, hey, we'll give you this edge rusher that hasn't worked out for us. We'll give you this safety that hasn't worked out for us. City of Champions, Pittsburgh, maybe. We're the City of Champions now, right? Right? 2 Super Bowls in an 8-year window. Makes us the City of Champions, right? I guess. I don't know. Look, every day we're talking cornerbacks. Every day we're trying to figure it out. Until September 4th, we're not going to know. And there's that 1% of thought in the back of my head that Kelee Ringo starting with Zach Bond, Jalen Carter, Cooper Dejean, Quinion Mitchell, Reed Blankenship, with all the starters out there, maybe Kelee Ringo would be better. I don't know. He just has no confidence in his own speed since there are more players with his speed. You can see it. He gets turned around way too easily. And he doesn't have a very high football IQ. He takes the wrong angles. He cuts the wrong way. When he should go left, he goes right. It's not just confidence. It's IQ. It's decision-making. It's processing speed. Ringo was always the fourth Beatles, just a role player, but still a Beatle. So maybe cut Ringo or out Ringo will always just be a role player here, still an Eagles, just not the main. Yeah, I get that. So do you keep Ringo for that reason and cut Ricks? You're not carrying 7 cornerbacks. The ideal situation, honestly, would be for Jacorian Bennett or Mac McWilliams to start. And then you cut a Dory Jackson, who's 30, not part of the future of this team. And then you can keep Ringo and Ricks for special teams. But at this point, you can't do that, right? Is Howie not going to make a big move to shore up the secondary? I mean, he made that move in Jacorian Bennett. I think depending on the Andrew Mukuba news we get today, hurting his hamstring yesterday in practice, what kind of a level of hamstring injury it is, will determine the whole secondary as a whole, what Howie has to do. Does he have to go out and get a safety or not? Can we survive with McCollum and Sidney Brown and someone from the practice squad to start the year if it's only a short-term hamstring injury for Andrew Mukuba? Ringo is so physically talented, but his play hasn't quite kicked in. Well, now we're into the third year of it, okay? It's time to shit or get off the pot. You clearly never beat it. I'm not a Beatle maniac either. I still think the Beatles are one of the most overrated bands of all time. I respect the importance of the Beatles and the cultural relevance and what they mean to the history of music. But I'm not a Beatles fan. Look at me. We're the captain now. Sorry, the movie geek that I am. I don't even know that one. Turn Ringo into Pete Best then. Okay. I was never a Beatles guy. I respect them, but I was never a huge fan. Look, we're on the same page. I wasn't a huge Stones fan. I like the Stones better than the Beatles, but Ringo replaced Pete Best. Okay. All right over my head on that one. It wasn't a big move. How's Bennett working out? Oh, look. Bennett's already ahead of Ringo in the depth chart, okay? He's getting some work with the ones, but mainly working with the twos. We saw Cooper Dejean struggle to get on the field early last year with a limited practice in the training camp. And he was the hotshot rookie. Jacorian Bennett is a guy that in the preseason game made some nice plays, was physical, attacked the ball. I think Jacorian Bennett, if he could stay healthy, because that's what we were told was his issue with the Raiders, if he can stay healthy, can be that guy. But I think it's the lack of time in the Vic Fangio defense is why we're not seeing more from him yet. But he's making progress, and he's got, 2 weeks from tomorrow to figure it out if he wants to start. Zeppelin, Stones, Floyd, Doors. Well, if I had to rank those 4 in order, in my opinion, it would be Doors 1, Zeppelin 2, Stones 3, Floyd 4. I was a huge Doors guy growing up. Loved the Doors. To say the Beatles are overrated is like saying, no, they're overrated in my book. I understand the relevance. I understand why people love them. It's just not my style. They were just a 60s boy band, in my opinion. Bennett hasn't played poorly. You could tell he's still getting used to the playbook. He's looked better than Ringo, Jackson, and Mac McWilliams. Yeah. I think there's talent there in Jacorian Bennett. I think maybe they go with a Dory Jackson to start the year. And by week 3 or 4, Jacorian Bennett takes that role over. And then Dory Jackson goes to the depth. I have no problem with Dory Jackson making this team in the Isaiah Rodgers role, which every time I say Isaiah Rodgers, I cry because Isaiah Rodgers should be on this team. Who thinks we'd be having this cornerback 2 conversation if Isaiah Rodgers was still here? I'm pretty sure he'd be the guy. Okay? So Dory Jackson should have been that backup. Come in when somebody gets nicked up and needs to come out for 4 plays. Can start one game if somebody gets injured. I think eventually that'll be his role when Jacorian Bennett takes over. TB12 is wildly overrated. Stop. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. He might have cheated occasionally, though. Beatles were a 60s boy band that eventually found acid. I think that's a fair way to say it. I think that's a very fair way to say it. I don't know what that would do to me. Never tried it. I'll be honest. I don't know if he regrets it yet. I think he's questioning the decision. Full regret yet? I don't know if he's in full regret mode yet, but he's definitely like, damn. What I think happened was, I think he thought Isaiah Rodgers was going to command a very big contract. And I think they weren't in enough contact with his agents and his representatives. Isaiah Rodgers took the first really good offer that came his way, and now he probably went like, oh, shit, I could have gotten him for that cheap. Damn, I had no clue. He was so focused on the Zach Bond situation, so focused on the Josh Sweat, Milton Williams situation, the Mekhi Becton, the top 4 free agents, and how to retain at least one of them, that maybe one of the more important ones, slipped away. I think he would have, if he knew what he could have gotten Darius Slay for, he might have considered keeping Darius Slay. I really thought there was a chance that Darius Slay was going to come back. All the bands in the 60s were boy bands. Even the Who, the Rolling Stones looked like boy bands, when they were younger. How he can't and doesn't allow himself to have too much regret because he has work to do. Yeah, I mean, I think he sits down after seasons are over and be like, hindsight is 2020. I should have made X move instead of Y move. But he doesn't literally, how do I say this? He doesn't regret them. He figures out what went wrong in his decision-making and how can I be better next year at it? How can I not make the same mistake next year? No, I'm not old enough for the 60s, If Rodgers came back to Howie with beat this number, he would have made it happen. And maybe Rodgers didn't want to be here. Maybe Rodgers wanted to go somewhere. He was told 100% you're the starter. Maybe Howie offered the same money. But he said, yo, you got to compete with Ringo. And maybe Isaiah Rodgers didn't want to have to compete with Keely Ringo. Either A, he knew that he was better and didn't think he had to compete with him. Maybe there was something to that. Isaiah Rodgers, Howie took a swing on him. He was suspended when we brought him in. I'm shocked that we gave Rodgers that second chance. Howie took a chance on him, and the two of them couldn't figure something out. And might come down to being the biggest mistake of this offseason. I think our defense is still so phenomenal and so deep at other positions, where one cornerback being less than stud isn't going to be the difference. Cornerback 2 is going to be the weak link, I guess. But, again, for the 1,000th time, when you have all your regulars out there, it's not going to be that big a deal. And also, go get Trey Hendrickson. Because then Trey Hendrickson will make the job of Keely Ringo or Dory Jackson better. You want me to rank these 4? Holy shit. Well, obviously, Buffett is number 1. See, the thing is, Rick, ranking these 3 guys or 4 guys is so tough for me. Because if you would have asked me this question 20 years ago, 15 years ago, it would have been totally different. The problem with Bruce Springsteen is when Bruce Springsteen just performs, he's so good. I've never seen him live, but I've watched his live concerts online. But he's just too political for me. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with his opinions. I don't want my entertainers shoving political things in my face, and Bruce Springsteen does that a lot in his newer songs and when he speaks to the media, the fans. I hate politics at concerts being shoved in my face. I want to enjoy the music. I want to enjoy the entertainment. I don't want to be lectured. And that has, over the last 10 years, knocked Bruce Springsteen down on my level. Jimmy Buffett would be 1. 10, 15 years ago, Springsteen would have been 2. Bob Seger might be 2. Bruce Springsteen 3. Tom Petty 4. But I love all these guys. Seger, Springsteen, and Buffett. Well, I don't have Buffett pre-programmed as an alert because I have his channel pre-programmed on my thing. Springsteen's channel got deleted from my XN presets. I won't lie. But Petty's a preset for me as well. And the trade deadline. Trade deadlines in football don't really make big deals. Yoko Ono was the greatest. Yep. Springsteen to me, I agree. I'm sure he is. Plenty of ways to compensate for 1 weak link. Absolutely. It looks different when they're going in preseason games with no starters, right? But you put them out there. Like Ringo and Adoree Jackson have had good practices with the rest of the starters out there. I never associate either. But when the musicians try to put it out there, yeah. Doors and Stones were way political. They were. But back then, I just listen to their music on the radio now. That's it. Shameless plug for Philly Press Box Radio. Former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green, Penn State University alumni radio voice Steve Jones. Ask Steve Jones about the one random bettor that put like $1 billion on Penn State to win it. Tonight, right here live on Philly Press Box Radio is live right here on the STT Sports Network, 7 p.m. Love Tommy Green. I got to spend a couple hours with Tommy Green once before. Phenomenal individual, phenomenal human being. Love me some Tommy Green. So that is, you got to hit me up with Tommy Green's contact information. Give him a little Philly Phil here, love. I got to get Tommy Green on the show. That would be amazing. North Carolina guy. All for great live. Yep. Damn, Phil, you must. I'm not a big Pink Floyd guy. Even their music. I'm not you, Jhoan. Listen to their music more closely. A lot were anti-war and pro-woke culture. Yeah, but it wasn't my time frame. Okay. But yeah, maybe if I listen a little closer, I would do that. Did you hear Roger Goodell trying to have Super Bowl in London? Well, that's kind of stupid. I did hear that though. Was it the last show Petty ever did in Philly? I have never seen Petty even in a festival format, which is kind of crazy. My problem, Rick, was I spent way too much money going to the same two artists over and over again. Literally 20 Dave Matthews concerts in like a 5-year span. And I've seen like Billy Joel like 10 times. I've gone to see far too many of the same people over and over again. We won a Super Bowl with Jalen Mills. Exactly. The Green Goblin just got signed somewhere too. Ziggy Stardust was the first shot. Culture change. He took it all too far, but boy, could he play guitar. Adoree needs to get off my time. I don't trust Sidney Brown. Inconsistent in coverage. Can't tackle properly. Takes bad angles. Too reckless. Yeah. Off my team. I know what you mean there. Look, I get it. I agree. But if Drew Mukuba's hurt, Sidney Brown's going to be your starter probably. And until somebody steps up, Adoree Jackson your starter. I love paying $300 plus for someone to sing, and please tell me for an hour about your political stance. Exactly. And that's kind of where I lost my love of Brucey. Saw Buffett, a baker's dozen, and met him in person in Key West. You've told me that, and I'm so jealous. I was a late bloomer with Jimmy Buffett, but now he's literally my number one guy. I've only seen him 3 times in concert. But yeah, obviously I got the Jimmy Buffett tattoo. Bubbles up. I've seen Springsteen 13 times and Petty 6. Love them both. Yeah, I've never seen either of them, and obviously I'm not going to see Petty now. But yeah, Springsteen, it's just the money. Honestly, the reason why I haven't seen Springsteen is straight just the money. I can't invest that much to go see a band anymore. I got Tommy Green autographed at the car dealer back in the day in Oxford. Awesome. Tommy Green's an awesome individual. Tommy Green was warming up and Fergosi wimped out. Yup. I actually followed the Dead to a few cities in the 80s. I remember my biggest Grateful Dead memory is, what year did he die? Whatever year it was, I was still living in Delco, and me and my brother used to walk to this baseball card shop on Baltimore Pike. There was a Subway next to it. It was next to the Big Al might know what I'm talking about. A shopping center next to where the orthodontist was on Baltimore Pike in Springfield. We used to walk to it. The baseball card shop, our mom would give us like $20. We'd walk, go to the baseball card shop, then go over to the Subway next door and get a sandwich and walk home. It was like a summer afternoon for me and my brother. And I remember walking into the Subway, and there was this hippie dude that used to work at the Subway. Long hair, beard, everything. And we walked into the Subway, and the sandwich maker was literally crying behind the counter. We're like, what happened? It's like, Jerry Garcia just died. I'm like, what? Who's that? He's like, oh, my God. I was like 12 years old. Back when you could let your 12-year-old kids walk the streets of Springfield safely. I've been to close to 80 concerts, used to work security cam. Oh, that's good. I haven't been to 80, but I've been to a lot. Probably 30 or 40 concerts for me. It was like 2 cities, but still followed. It's still followed. Saw Petty 7 or 8 times, Springfield 3 times. I can't even count all the bands. I've seen so many festivals. Every Y100 festival, used to do every MMRBQ, stuff like that. When I graduated from high school, I jumped in a car and did a bunch of Dead shows on the East Coast. That's awesome. You would have loved my brother-in-law. Would love him. He's a big Deadhead still. Trade Sidney Brown to Bengals for Alabama safety from Alabama, the Jordan Battle. I mean, I'd have to look into it. I don't know if that would be a trade that would work. Jordan Battle, Bengals, Brown, 4. I'm going to write it down, EC1. I'm going to look at it. I'll look into it after the show. I've seen Billy Joel and Elton John like 2 to 3 times. Well, I've seen Billy Joel like 7 or 8 times solo, and then I've seen the Billy Joel Elton John face-to-face shows another 3 or 4 times on top of that. As a piano man myself growing up, obviously Billy Joel and Elton John were like idols to me. So saw ZZ Top open for Skinner. That's pretty cool. So he could play with his brother in Cincinnati. Yeah. You know how different those concerts were versus all the other. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're pounding that like button today. Pounding that like button today. You gotta love it. I despise politics, so I intentionally ignore them. So whenever it tries to cross musical lines, I ain't paying attention. Yeah, that's just issue why Springsteen's dropped down my list instead of being at the top of my list. I've been around dozens of concerts. I don't count festivals. Okay, gotcha. I don't count the whole range. Norah Jones, Def Leppard. Yeah, look. So you take out festivals. I can't because what's the Willie Nelson festival? I've done that. The last time I did the Willie Nelson festival, it had Willie Nelson, Sheryl Crow, and Van Morrison at it. Van Morrison's in my top 5 of gone to concerts. I've seen him like 4 times. There's nothing like a Dead show. First time I saw them, opened for them. It was an amazing experience. Yeah, I'm a big Billy Joel guy. As a piano guy, big Billy Joel guy. The news is a total circle jerk anymore. Yeah. Def Leppard was better than Pete Willis. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be able to. I'm not experienced enough to answer that. How come we didn't see Antoine Powell-Ryland Jr. in a preseason? Look, Antoine Powell-Ryland, while he's a great prospect, while before camp we thought he was a roster lock, there is a distinct possibility that they try to sneak APR to the practice squad, at least early in the season. He has not impressed yet. He might be more developmental than we thought he was. We thought he'd be ready to step in and play a role immediately. It might not happen. Double O, the late offseason pickup there, might make that last 5th or 6th edge rusher position for the Eagles. What do I got on my 53-man roster right now? Yeah, the Patrick Johnson might make the 53 over APR. Not because APR can't be good someday, but because APR may need some more developmental time on the practice squad. Jonathan, good morning. I said yes to the poll. Nagging injuries plus most starters inactive. Yes. And I just want people to remember last year we were 2-2 to start the year. We were slow last year. I think they'll go 3-2 to start the year, but they can easily go 2-3 to start the year. Don't panic. It's okay. The point of it isn't to overreact to the injuries. The point of the poll question, Jonathan, is to make sure that fans understand that there are going to be some bumps in the road early. I had a lot of fun at Jethro Tull. Never saw them. My brother saw them the last time they were around. I never watch the news unless it's about sports. Most news is just them trying to program us. Yeah. I mean, I put it on occasionally when something big is happening in the world. APR was not good in practice at all. No. He's fallen down that depth chart for sure. Not saying he's not going to stay on the practice squad. Not saying he can't be good. But there is a distinct possibility that he could safely get stashed for a little while on the practice squad. So many people, Def Leppard, Creed. Ooh, Creed. Never saw them. Ozzy, Rob Zombie, country. Yeah, I'm a big variety guy. I mean, I've seen hip-hop artists in concert too. APR just need to get seasoning. Yeah, exactly. But there were people expecting him to be an instant contributor. And he's just not doing it. People were saying he was a steal, a huge value where they drafted him. Well, maybe they drafted him in the right spot. Yeah, Ty Robinson is also, I mean, he's playing every snap basically in preseason games so far. Ty Robinson is not at a risk of getting put on the practice squad. He's going to be on this roster, Ty Robinson. But he still needs to develop a little bit too. If you lose to the Cowboys, do we overreact? We're going to overreact, absolutely. But then the next day I'll be like, relax. It's fine. I've already said there's a distinct possibility we lose to the Cowboys if Micah Parsons plays. That's how special Micah Parsons is. The pomp and circumstance, opening night, raising the banner, all the celebrations, distinct possibility. I watch BBC. Yeah. I got to fire through these. Would Howie trade for Graham Delpit? I'll write his name down. I'm not sure. We'd have to see his contract. We're already in overtime. Got to wrap this show up here in a minute because I got to get to work. Got lots to do today. Firing through these. I'm anti-news, any politics. Exactly. I don't trust anything. Good morning, Brianna. Welcome late to the show. Ty Robinson. Yeah, they're all going to develop, but they need time. Cowboys are trash of an organization. Who's the biggest disappointment in camp so far? Offensive defense. Keely Ringo, I guess, would be my biggest disappointment. Kyle McCord. Nobody's really disappointing of importance on the offense. So the injuries would be the disappointment. Yes, great show today. Thank you all very much. Got to wrap it up. We're already 2 minutes into overtime. If you're watching on replay, please like, please share, please subscribe. Poll question, yes, 52%, no, 48% is the final number on the poll here. Guys, I appreciate your time today. We'll be back tomorrow. More Phillies talk, more Eagles talk. Today is the last training camp practice. So, yes, thank you very much. Yeah, Ringo's got to be the biggest disappointment so far. Overtime rules, as NFL, yeah. Now, got to wrap it up. Got to get to work, guys. We're not all on vacation like you, Rick. Everybody have a great Wednesday. Go Birds! Bubbles up.